Every year, global indexes rank the world's most livable cities. The clean, the safe, the efficient. But what about the other side of the list? In cities where the air burns your throat, traffic never moves, and people drown in smog, life somehow continues. Against all logic, people refuse to leave. This is a look inside the world's most unlivable cities and the powerful reasons their residents stay. Behind every miserable commute and every overpriced apartment, there's something stronger. Some of these cities represent roots, dreams, and the unshakable pull of belonging. Today, we explore 3 cities where life can be brutal, but the people remain unbreakable. Cairo, Egypt. Cairo, the city of 1,000 minarets and 1,000,000 car horns. Home to more than 22 million people, the Egyptian capital sprawls across the desert like a living organism, one that never quite sleeps, never quite rests. The air is usually thick with exhaust fumes and dust. On some mornings, visibility drops so low that the ancient pyramids disappear behind a brown haze. The World Health Organization once ranked Cairo among the most polluted major cities on Earth, with fine particulate matter levels several times above the global safety threshold. But even through the chaos, Cairo beats with an energy that's impossible to ignore. Every day, millions navigate jammed highways that turn a 20-minute drive into a 2-hour ordeal. The public transport system, overcrowded and underfunded, strains to keep up. And housing? For many, it's a puzzle of survival. Informal settlements rise from the desert edge, where people build homes brick by brick, paycheck by paycheck. Yet despite all this, Cairo is alive because in the middle of the noise, there's laughter. Street vendors selling falafel at sunrise, the call to prayer echoing between centuries-old mosques, families gathering along the Nile Corniche at night, sharing tea and stories. So why do people stay? For many, the answer is simple. It's home. Cairo is where livelihoods, families, and traditions intertwine, and even if the infrastructure crumbles, the social quality remains firm. Economically, it's also a lifeline. Nearly all major industries in Egypt, including banking, education, healthcare, tourism, flow through Cairo. If you want an opportunity, you come here. But there's something else. For Cairenes, leaving isn't just moving, it's leaving behind thousands of years of history under your feet. Where else can you take a bus past both a 5,000-year-old pyramid and a modern skyscraper in the same commute? This is only possible in Cairo, and even while the city may be crumbling, it always endures. Manila, Philippines. While Cairo slightly represents chaos, Manila is a city that seems to live one step ahead of disaster. The Philippine capital is home to nearly 14 million people in the city proper and over 25 million in the greater metropolitan area. It's a place where the sun rises over glass towers and sets over flooded streets. Every rainy season, Manila braces for water. Its drainage system, overworked and under-designed, turns monsoon rains into waist-deep floods. In 2022 alone, more than 400,000 residents were displaced by seasonal flooding, and yet, within days, the city hums again, markets reopen, and the jeepneys roar back to life. So why do people stay in a city that seems to fight its own geography? The answer lies in 2 words: community and faith. Manila's people are known for a resilience that borders on defiance. In Tondo, one of the densest districts in the world, more than 70,000 people live per square kilometer. And yet the neighborhood never sleeps because vendors call out, children play basketball in alleys, and karaoke fills the night. For many, leaving isn't an option. It's where the call centers, shipping companies, and factories are situated. The city accounts for nearly 1/3 of the Philippines' GDP. And even if life here means battling gridlock traffic that can stretch commutes to 3 or 4 hours daily, opportunity lives in Manila's chaos. But Manila is more than a struggle. Every festival, every feast day, every act of kindness in the middle of crisis adds to a collective spirit that keeps the city standing. After Typhoon Ondoy in 2009, when entire neighborhoods were submerged, residents shared food, built rafts, and carried strangers to safety. They didn't wait for rescue, they became it. That's why people don't leave Manila, because in this city, life is shared. And no matter how harsh the conditions, people find ways to celebrate survival. Right in this city, you don't measure wealth in square footage or car models. You measure it in how much joy you can create despite everything falling apart around you. New York City. New York is the so-called capital of the world, but behind the skyline, life here can be just as punishing as anywhere else. It's home to over 8.5 million residents, but it feels like double that when you're rushing through Times Square or waiting for a delayed train at 2 a.m. The city's housing crisis is legendary. The average rent for a 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan hovers around $4,500 a month, and even outer boroughs have skyrocketed beyond affordability. Many New Yorkers spend more than half of their income on housing, far above what's considered sustainable. Add to that one of the world's highest costs of living in terms of groceries, transport, and healthcare, and it's easy to see why people joke that if you don't live in New York, you survive it. And yet, despite all that, people keep coming. In 2024 alone, the city gained over 100,000 new residents, including dreamers, strivers, and risk-takers chasing something only New York seems to offer. For immigrants, artists, and entrepreneurs, the city is a magnet. It's not just about money, it's about meaning. Every corner possesses ambition. Every subway car carries 10 stories of reinvention, but the price of the dream is ridiculous. The average commute in New York stretches to over an hour each way, and the stress levels are among the highest in the country. Noise, overcrowding, and pollution make it one of the least livable cities in the developed world by many metrics. Yet, paradoxically, that chaos is part of its pulse. The sleepless streets and endless motion give it an energy unmatched anywhere else. It's a city where the same people who complain about it will defend it fiercely to outsiders. For all its frustrations, New York offers something intangible, a sense of belonging to something larger, faster, and more alive than anywhere else. Leaving means losing that energy, that identity forged in the daily grind. This is a city built on struggle, and for those who survive it, there's a pride unlike anywhere else. New York may chew you up, but it also builds you sharper, faster, and tougher. To live here is to constantly fight, and somehow to love the fight itself. New York may be the most famous example, but it's far from alone. Across the globe, millions endorse cities that test the limits of livability every day. From South Asia to West Africa to Latin America, the story repeats itself. Struggle intertwined with resilience, hardship balanced by hope. These are cities where overcrowding, poor planning, and environmental hazards coexist with vibrancy, creativity, and hope. They are living paradoxes, unlivable by many measures, but indispensable to the people who call them home. Dhaka. Dhaka is the beating heart of Bangladesh, a city in constant motion. With over 22 million people crammed into an area of just 306 square kilometers, it's one of the most densely populated cities in the world. To put that in perspective, that's roughly 72,000 people per square kilometer in the most crowded districts. On any given day, streets overflow with buses, rickshaws, motorbikes, and pedestrians. The traffic moves like a living organism that's chaotic, unpredictable, but unstoppable. Environmental hazards compound the chaos. Dhaka regularly battles severe air pollution, water contamination, and crippling heat waves. Fine particulate matter often exceeds safe levels by 300 to 400%, making it a city with one of the worst air quality indexes in the world. Floods are a seasonal certainty. Monsoon rains can submerge entire neighborhoods for days. In 2022 alone, over 400,000 residents were displaced by flooding, many forced to live in temporary shelters with little access to clean water or electricity. And yet, the city survives. To understand why, you need to see life from Dhaka's streets. The street vendors in Old Dhaka wake before sunrise, frying fuchka and selling sweets to early commuters. Rickshaw pullers navigate the narrow alleys with impossible skill, ferrying passengers for just a few dollars a day. Families crowd into tiny apartments, sharing kitchens, bathrooms, and stories. Even children play cricket in alleys while floodwaters slowly recede around them. Economic necessity keeps millions here. Dhaka is Bangladesh's economic engine, contributing nearly 40% of the national GDP. Textiles, manufacturing, tech startups, and logistics all thrive here. For rural migrants seeking opportunity, leaving Dhaka is rarely an option. And yet, it's more than economics. It's culture, community, and resilience. Neighborhoods are tightly knit. Families live in multi-generational houses. Neighbors share food, labor, and celebrations. Festivals transform even the busiest streets into vibrant displays of music, color, and devotion. Dhaka is also a city of improvisation. When the electricity fails, shopkeepers light kerosene lamps. When traffic stops, pedestrians find alternate routes through narrow alleys. When floodwaters rise, communities band together to build temporary bridges and floating pathways. This is survival as an art form, a city that refuses to collapse because its people refuse to let it. Beyond the hardship lies an unshakable optimism. There's pride in the progress, the construction cranes on the skyline, the rising universities, the digital startups led by young Bangladeshis determined to reshape their city. Dhaka may be drowning, choking, and overcrowded, but it's also dreaming. It's a paradox of endurance and ambition, where every small victory feels monumental. Leaving Dhaka isn't just leaving a city, it's leaving a life, a community, and a culture that generations have built through adversity. For millions, staying is a necessity and a declaration of belonging. Dhaka has not just survived, it's lived, fiercely and unapologetically. Lagos, Nigeria. With over 23 million residents, Lagos is one of the fastest growing cities on Earth. The streets are perpetually crowded with motorbikes darting between cars, street vendors balance trays on their heads, and commuters waiting hours in traffic. The air is thick with the sounds of generators, car horns, and the unending hum of human activity. Life here is defined by extremes. Flooding is common, particularly in low-lying areas. Power outages disrupt homes and businesses daily. The city's infrastructure constantly struggles to keep up with its growth. Roads buckle under traffic, drainage systems overflow, and waste piles up faster than it can be cleared. Yet Lagos continues to operate as if acknowledging the chaos is part of its identity. But why do people stay? The city is Nigeria's economic powerhouse, accounting for nearly 30% of the country's GDP. Ports, manufacturing, entertainment, finance. Lagos attracts ambitious individuals from across West Africa. It's a city where dreams are built in slums and skyscrapers alike. In the same block, you might find a tech startup launching an app next to a street market selling plantains and phone chargers. It's a study in contrasts, poverty and prosperity thriving side by side. As for culture, Lagos is unmatched. Afrobeat, Nollywood, and street fashion. The city's creativity flows like electricity. Festivals, live performances, and local markets create a rhythm of life that makes the city feel alive even during gridlock. The nightlife is legendary. Bars spill onto the streets, music pulses through the air, and despite everything, there's laughter everywhere. The informal settlements tell another story. Take Makoko, the floating slum on Lagos Lagoon. Thousands live in houses on stilts, navigating narrow waterways by canoe. Water, sanitation, and electricity are scarce, yet the community thrives through innovation and cooperation. Children go to floating schools, fishermen trade from their boats, and life adapts in remarkable ways. But Lagos is not just thriving, it's reinventing itself. Startups, artists, and activists are reshaping the city from the ground up, finding solutions where the government often fails. Solar power initiatives, community cleanups, and tech hubs are signs of a generation determined to redefine what's possible. Lagos is unlivable in every measurable sense. It's dense, polluted, flooded, and overworked. And yet, people stay, because it's a lifeline, a home, a stage for ambition and culture. Here, struggle and opportunity exist side by side. People do not leave Lagos because leaving often means leaving their dreams behind. This is the paradox of Lagos. It can destroy you, and yet, it can make you. Finally, we arrive at Mexico City, one of the largest urban centers in the world, home to over 21 million people in the metropolitan area. Mexico City is a city of contrasts. Towering skyscrapers rise beside colonial ruins. Luxury condos sit next to informal settlements, and streets are often clogged with cars, buses, and pedestrians. Air pollution is a persistent challenge. Despite improvements in recent years, PM 2.5 levels remain high, causing respiratory illnesses for many residents. The city also faces water scarcity, with over 40% of residents lacking direct access to running water at all times. Seismic activity is another constant threat. Situated on a former lake bed, Mexico City is highly prone to earthquakes. Buildings sway, emergency drills are part of daily life, and yet the city thrives. Mexico City is a hub of culture, tradition, and family. Markets overflow with food, music fills the streets, and neighborhoods host festivals year-round. Millions have lived here for generations, passing down homes, businesses, and traditions. Migration from rural areas continues, driven by opportunity and connection. Millions come to Mexico City seeking work in services, government, manufacturing, or tourism. For many, leaving means giving up on livelihood, family, and history. Despite the challenges, communities innovate constantly. Rooftops become gardens, streets host festivals even during power outages. Informal economies keep neighborhoods alive. Here, resilience is embedded in daily life. Life in Mexico City is a negotiation with adversity. Residents navigate traffic, pollution, and risks, yet find joy in family, food, music, and history. And like the other unlivable cities we've explored, there's a pull that keeps people here: roots, culture, and opportunity. Overall, Mexico City is unlivable in many ways, and yet it's indispensable for those who call it home. Ultimately, all these cities are located where life tests its residents every single day. Yet across continents, the story is the same. Life is harsh, crowds are crushing, pollution chokes the air, and traffic grinds to a halt. But people remain, rooted in culture, family, faith, and opportunity. These cities are defined by the people who refuse to leave. To live in such cities is to struggle daily, but it's also to belong to something greater, to a collective heartbeat that never stops. Perhaps that's the real story. The most unlivable cities are not failures of civilization, but mirrors of humanity itself. They remind us that home isn't always where life is easiest, but where people refuse to stop living, dreaming, rebuilding, no matter the odds.